It tells you how to fill it out right there, who must file, reminders who must file, corrected, voided returns, everything. Uh, what you can actually write off. Here's number one is rents. So let's start with number one. So you have a trust and you rent a place with your trust. There you go. You write that off. The problem we having, why we have issues with getting these bills properly written off, is because how you're structured, how you're operating. You're operating solely out of your social. And that number right there is gonna kill you every time. You're not gonna get the benefits of write-offs and credits like you would a trust. You're not gonna get that. And other income payments is box 3, right? So what does that mean? You pay people throughout the year to do things. Like, say if you contracted someone to work on your home, there it is. Other income payments. Um, Generally, the cash paid from a notional principal contract to an injury, partnership, or estate. Same thing, goes in box 3. Any fishing boat proceeds, if you got a fishing boat, medical and health care payments. So say if you have your own health insurance or whatever, and you're making it, those payments through your trust. You can write that up. That all goes on here. If you paid an attorney. All right. Now, let's read trade or business reporting only. Report on 1099 MIC only when payments are made in the course of your trade or business. Personal payments are not reportable. See, they're telling you. Social security number payments are not reportable. You are engaged in trade or business if you operate for gain or profit. Do you operate for gain? I think most people operate for gain or profit. However, nonprofit organizations are considered to be engaged in the trade or business and are subject to these reporting requirements. So if you have a church and you're in trade or business, you can use this form as well. Other organizations subject to these reporting requirements include trust of qualified pensions or profit sharing plans of employers, certain organizations exempt from tax under 501c C or D, farmers cooperatives that are exempt from tax under 521. Payments by federal, state, local government agency are also reportable. So there you go. That's the 1099. So let's see the infamous, the one that every let's stop sharing for a second. Let me pull up a 1099A. 1099A instructions. Let's do 1099 penalties, but not 1099 penalties. Let's look at that. See, this is where a lot of people reason why they come after you, because you guys are reporting. Let's see. Let me get the right one here. 1099 late reporting, late filing penalty. Okay. Let's go straight. They got a bunch of, but those are interest penalties, due dates. Let's see if this will give it to me. Well, here it is right here. I'm gonna show you this, but I wanted to show y'all the penalties for filing these forms late. They could be up to like 588, 5,000. Let's share the screen here. Here it is. This was this year's filing deadline due to the IRS, February 28th, February 28th, February 28th. Due to the recipient, January 31st, January 31st, and that's for 1099As, 1099Bs. That's, bank accounts and stuff. February 15th, due by 28th. 1099Cs, January 31 to the recipient, February 28th to the IRS. Those dividends and interest, we don't deal with that. 1099Ks, the NECs, January 31st and February 31st to the IRS. Okay? So, and it shows you what your minimum amounts are, $600 or more. All amounts. 1099 all amounts, 1099Bs all amounts. So now when you watch these videos, they don't tell you that you have to have these in there by a certain time. They're doing these videos all year long. Send this here, send this there, send this there. Straight disregard for what the IRS says you have to have these in for. Now, if you're sending 1099s outside of the time frame that they say you need to have it in that by, automatically when they get that paperwork, they're gonna know that you're probably one of these, what they would call a sovereign citizen. And look at the top here. Say a person engaged in trade and business, including a corporation, partnership, individual, estate, and trust, who makes reportable transactions during the calendar year, must file information returns, report those transactions to the IRS. And actually here, it broadened the scope of who can say a person engaged in trade and business. We are always engaged in trade or business. But in order to properly get remedy or results from this, you have to follow these rules. And if you don't follow the rules, guess what? Penalties. I'm trying to find the one where it reads off how the penalties for these forms. 1099. So many people see success in other people's and they want that success, but they don't want to break old habits. You'll never have success that way. If you're going to stay the same person that don't have success now, you're not going to get success being that same person. You're not going to get the success hanging out with the same people. You're not going to get the same success with the same entertainment habits that you had before. You're going to have to give those things up. You got to give it all up. You came into this world as a winner. So why are you losing now? Because you forgot. You forgot who you are. You forgot your true divinity. You forgot where your true power lies. You place power in people's idea of you and not the power in your truthful idea of yourself. So change the idea of who you are, change your life. Change how you see yourself. Change the idea that you allow external things control what's inside of you. Change the idea that you need people to validate you in order to feel like you're something. Whenever you think, I need that, it's always a struggle to go get the need. But with the wants, there's no struggle there. It's work, yes. Because what you'll do is you'll become singular in your mindset and you'll get rid of a lot of stuff just to get that one. Trust me.
Peace. What's up? What's up? All right, so it looks like my mic is low. And all right, let's turn it up. Let's turn it up. All right, it should be good. All right. Peace, everybody. Sorry I didn't get on yesterday as I had promised. I had a little emergency. I was dealing with vertigo all day, 24 hours. Dealing with that. I recovered by this morning. Straight 24 hours. Never had it that much. But I'm better now. Hope everybody's doing good. It is November the 26th. Sure, we got less than a week left to the month. We got holidays coming up in a couple of days. I hope you guys are going to, have a good time visiting your families. I wish you guys a good time. So travel safe, and remember, what you know is what you know. You don't have to push your beliefs on everyone. So go enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner, whatever you want to call it, the time with the family. Go enjoy yourself. You don't have to go there and be the teacher. There's a time for everything. There's a time to speak. There's a time to not to speak. There's a time to preach, and there's a time not to preach. Remember, a lot of people just don't want to wake up. Just because you have some new ideas, some new epiphanies, and they feel they wake you up and you feel alive. You feel like you're on a new path. Remember, that's your path. That's your new path. And many of the people you run into are not thinking about new paths. They're thinking about paying bills. They're thinking about how I'm going to make it through tonight, tomorrow, next week. First of the month is here. How am I going to pay these bills? That's all they think about. They want to hear nothing about all these new truths you're discovering about God and Jesus and Christ and trust and 1090. They don't want to hear nothing about that. They ain't ready. They'll get ready. They'll be ready. People usually want help only when there's do or die situations. They want you to throw Hail Marys. That's just typically how people respond. They wait. That's like the flood, right? Noah preached about this rain coming for years. And they laughed, they scoffed, whatever. What is he talking about? Why you keep talking about this rain? It ain't never rained around here. What are you talking about? People are used to the experience that they're experiencing. And you tell them that there's something else that they have never experienced that's coming, and then popular opinion takes over, and you're coming off as a Looney Tune. So if you got the call, you got the truth, it's for you. It's not even for the people in your house, your husband, your wife. It's not even for them, because sometimes they just not want to hear it. Do y'all know that you talk to people, you can say stuff, and you can talk directly at them, but you realize most people are listening only to the thoughts in their head? Not to you. They're not really listening to you. They're listening to only the idea of you in their head. They're only listening to what they already have preconceived in their mind that you're going to say before you even say it. So when you do say what you're going to say, they didn't even hear that. Do you realize that? I'm really starting to learn that. And what I have to learn is not to challenge it so much, because it can be frustrating in a way. You're like, wait a minute. I just said this. What are you talking about? You said, and I have to learn that a lot of us are really not trained in the art of listening with understanding. We are trained in the art of listening only to get to the point where you think you could cut in and say what you need to say. And I had a bad habit of doing. I can't say I'm not guilty of that. I have been very much guilty of that. Learning. It is so much. Conversations go very well, easier if you just listen with a real ear of understanding what a person is trying to say. Because a lot of times people mutter off words and they don't even know how to put their words together. And they think they're telling you something clearly, and you based on your perception, whatever, you're not really getting it, like what they're saying. And that's why it's always good to fire back questions. Okay, you said this. Let me just make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. Based on what you just said, I believe you're saying this. And then that's how you get to an understanding of what people are meaning and saying. Because school didn't teach us how to conversate. Didn't teach us how to dialogue with each other. Teach us, there's no training that we took, most of us. If there is a training, we took it after we got a job and they taught us how to communicate. Like, for instance, sales jobs that I've had, they taught us how to communicate effectively in order to get the sale. But that's just one aspect of communication. There's many forms of communication in active ways you can continue a conversation to make it a productive one. But the average conversation is not a productive conversation if you really sit there and study it. People say things and then we assume what we think they mean, or you'll say something, people assume what they think you mean instead of actually confirming what you mean. They'll take an assumption. You might say something and the way you put it might have given another meaning. Even your facial expressions might have given, you might be saying something, but your facial expression is saying something else. These are all art forms of communication. How to convey messages, and your facial expressions align with what your mouth is saying or what you're trying to verbalize. But I can tell you the best communication, the best indicator of you want to know what people are about, just watch what they do. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. That tells you. So anyway, today we're going to talk about how the Bible relates to trust. I've talked about it. I've read different scriptures, but today I'm going to go to examples of trust in the Bible that directly relates to what we're doing today. What I teach you guys to do. Set up your trust. Operate in trust. And how being in trust is a biblical principle. It's a godly and spiritual principle. I mean, if you just look at the church structure, it's all a trusteeship. You got people who have different offices that are entrusted with different responsibilities. Right? The secretary. Right? The secretary is in a trustee position. A treasurer, a trustee position. Bishops and what do you call it? Deacons. All of these are trustee positions. They got certain responsibilities to fulfill. Even a pastor is a trustee position. Although he's at the top and he got people he directs, but he's the ultimate trustee of delivering God's word to the people. Not his word. He's supposed to be preaching from the Bible, right? So he's entrusted with the responsibility of delivering spiritual knowledge to the people. But I'm going to go to some examples. The first one I'm going to go to is Genesis 41, 39 to 41. This is a very good example. Let me get my Bible. Which one should I choose? Genesis 41, 39 to 41. Chapter 41, 39 through 41. Chapter 41, verses 39 to 41. This is a long story, so I'm going to just read just a couple of, because I could be here all day doing this. "39 says, so Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only with regard to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt." So right then and there, Pharaoh entrusted Joseph over all of his affairs. The only person higher than him was Pharaoh. And so once he had became over that, guess what? Remember, his brothers came back, didn't recognize him, and he was able to feed them. So that when if you want to go back into that story, what seemed to be a tragedy turned about they tried to kill their brother, leave him for dead. And then they sold him off into slavery. But that very act is what delivered his brothers. They were dealing with a famine. Because sometimes people are trying to do you harm. And they really think they're trying to do you harm. They really believe I'm getting over on you, and they really helping you. See, where you fall short in a situation like that, you want to, I know this person trying to get, and you try to go back at them. You don't have to. All my biggest triumphs came from me just backing off and letting them think that they were winning. Let them punch themselves out. See, only a fight only can be a fight if two people are actually fighting with each other. But if you just let somebody punch themselves out, and you just come back and you just pick up all the spoils of the war. Let them attack. You ain't gotta. Some things ain't worth challenging. And I'm learning that as I grow, I learn this, that just sit back. Because sometimes you don't really have an answer on how to go back at it. And in that moment, when you don't really have an answer, that means that God hasn't spoken through you just yet. Just let it go. He was sold off. He accepted his plight, and as he's second in command over all of Pharaoh's affairs. That's one example. What's the other one? Abraham preparing an inheritance for Isaac. This is where fathers are passing down wealth to the children. Something we have never really been taught. When I think of trust, I heard of trust, they got to trust. I think of wealthy folks. Wealthy people got trust. That was my concept. I never really thought about it. Why? Because I was programmed to go to work and just spend my money, go buy this, go pay rent with it, go pay bills, not to set up and protect assets. So that's in Genesis 25, 5 through 6. Going back to the beginning a little bit. (25, 5 and 6). Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but to the sons of concubines, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and he sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the east country. So he gave everything he had to Isaac. He entrusted, here's your inheritance. That's a trust. I mean, these are just a few. What I'm talking about tonight is just a few examples, right? Abraham distributed his possessions before his death, leaving everything to Isaac, but also giving gifts to his other sons. He ensured that his wealth was allocated according to his wishes. Real life parallel. Setting up a trust ensures your assets are distributed according to your plans, whether to family, charitable organizations, or other beneficiaries. It provides clarity and avoids disputes, just as Abraham did for his family. Now, back to the first example. Let me just give you the real life according to what I wrote. I kind of summarized. It says, Pharaoh entrusted Joseph to manage Egypt's resources during years of plenty and famine. Joseph effectively created a system to store and distribute grain, ensuring the nation's survival. And as a parallel to us today, a trust allows someone, the trustee, to manage resources on behalf of others, the beneficiaries. Just as Joseph acted wisely and responsibly, a trustee ensures that assets are protected and used for the intended purpose. Now, another real life example is our government. All of those people are trustees, and they're supposed to be distributing the wealth of the nation back out to the people. That's how God's government is set up. But see, man's government is set up to take from the people, not give. Oh, they give you little welfare and little social programs, but really giving? I mean, if the government is giving out billions of dollars to different countries for different wars, that same money for the amount of our population, if they were to give that to the people of this country, no one would have to worry about anything. But that wouldn't work. Under a capitalistic society, that never works, because capitalism is about big corporations making billions of dollars and filtering jobs down to the people. See, if everybody's rich, no one is rich. So they have to create a divide. I have a big corporation, come work for me and help me keep this corporation going. When you think about the amount of money they give out to other countries, and if they just kept those resources right here, this whole country would be self-sufficient. And sometimes people ask, why don't they do that? Because it's not. When men want power, they will never do anything like that. Because in that, there is no power. If a man is totally free to do as he has all of the resources at his disposal, he doesn't need anybody. He's self-sufficient. But God, that's how he created us, to be self-sufficient, without worrying about any governmental entities to take care of us. Proverbs 13:22. Let's see what that says. Proverbs 13:22. The good leave an inheritance to their children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. So it says the good leave an inheritance to their children's children. So we're supposed to be leaving inheritance for our grandchildren. Make sure they're set up. Because you won't have to do anything for it, because if you're already done for the children. Well, they'll be set up, but then our legacy is supposed to continue on through the children's children. But the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. So the sinner's wealth is going to be lost, meaning the righteous end up with it anyway. Okay, biblical verse says, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but the sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Real life parallel. Trusts allow individuals to pass wealth responsibility to future generations, ensuring long-term benefits and protection. Planning ahead. like the proverb suggests, creates a legacy of security and blessing. So there you go. Here's another one. Matthew 25:14-30. The biblical context is a master entrusted a servant with talents. I've talked about this many times. Money to manage while he was away. 2 of them invested and increased the wealth, and one buried it out of fear. The master rewarded the faithful stewards and reproached the one who failed to act. Real life, a trust mirrors this by requiring trustees to act as stewards of the assets entrusted to them, growing and managing them wisely to the benefit of others. So if you're a trustee of something, your job is to see to the well-being of that trust and to see it grow. See, but a lot of crooked trustees use these opportunities to squander the money. Kind of what this slave did. He took one, he just buried it. He did nothing with it. So if you're running the trust and you're not doing anything with it, then you just on par with this one slave that did nothing. So if you guys got trust, it's time to act. Do something with it. Make it grow. I told you in California's code, no, was it Nevada's code? They talked about a trust that had $250,000 in assets was considered a bank. It can be considered a bank. Meaning if it's considered a bank, it can lend, it can borrow, it can do all kinds of things. In the financial world. This was go look it up in their code. Not gonna go too deep into that tonight. God's covenant with Noah. Genesis 8-17. Let's read that because that's detailed. He gave him a detailed responsibility, and he faithfully carried that out. It's Genesis 9:8-17. And God said to Noah and to his sons with him. So this wasn't, he just didn't say it to his own, his sons was with him. As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you. Covenant is another word for trust. And your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, every animal of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, this is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you. For all future generations, I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant that I've established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. So it says here, God made a covenant, a trust-like agreement with Noah and all living creatures, promising never to flood the earth again. The rainbow served as a sign of this enduring promise. Just as a trust establishes terms and safeguards to future generations, God's covenant was a protective and binding agreement that reflected trust and responsibility for the future. See, so many examples. Jesus entrusted Mary to John. Here's John 19:26-27. John 19. Let's go look that up. Y'all getting a Bible lesson on trust tonight. 19:26 to 27. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his home. So here it says, from the cross, Jesus entrusted the care of his mother, Mary, to John. He ensured that Mary's needs will be met after his death. Real life, selling up a trust is a way to ensure your loved ones are cared for when you are no longer able to do so yourself. So this is an excellent example of why a trust is necessary, so that your wishes are carried out after you're gone or when you're incapacitated to do so. This act of foresight reflects deep love and responsibility. There's some of these examples I wasn't even aware of, but after doing some research, I was able to pull it out. Nehemiah protecting Jerusalem resources. Nehemiah 7:1-3. Let's find that. That's not a scripture that I go to often, so I might have a little trouble flipping and finding that. I might have to go to. It's Jeremiah, but not Nehemiah. So I'm gonna have to go to Table Council. It's one of those. Most of them I know where to find them. What page we on? If you like some of us, to go and look to the front of the book to find it. When I was a kid, when we were studying the Bible, we had to remember where these scriptures were. We could, going to look for it was a problem. Yo, you got to know this. You got to be able to flip, because we was knocking on people's doors. And we had to be ready. It says 4:6. Okay, here we go. I think I'm gonna have to. I'm getting close. Getting close. See, I'm reading. This is the Apocryphal Bible, so everything's in a funny little place. What did it say it was? What it said 465. 475. We had to be, there you go, Nehemiah. And that's 7:1-3. Now, when the wall had been built, and I had set up the doors, and the gatekeepers and singers, and the Levites had been appointed, I gave my brother Hananiah charge over Jerusalem, along with Hananiah, the commander of the citadel, for he was a faithful man and feared God more than many. And I said to them, the gates of Jerusalem are not to be opened until the sun is hot. While the gatekeepers are still standing guard, let them shut and bar the doors. So under this, it says, Nehemiah appointed trustworthy individuals to guard the gates and manage the resources of Jerusalem. He planned for the city's protection and future. A trust appoints trustworthy individuals, trustees, to manage and protect assets, ensuring the beneficiaries are provided for according to the Creator's intent. Now, what's the pattern here? Right? In all of these instances, something was set up to protect beneficiaries' interests. Now, we're supposed to be beneficiaries here, but we don't get nothing. I mean, we got to go work and get a salary. Now, when you really think about the billions of dollars that go out everywhere else, and we have people on the street, even people who have fought for this country, homeless, and they can't get the bare necessities, while they give away billions of dollars to other countries. And just lately, people who were coming here illegally, they were giving them all kind of benefits. This is why things have to change, and they will change, because when you operate from a place of greed and not taking care of the people, things got to change. You're not supposed to be living in conditions. This is supposed to be the greatest country in the world. You're not supposed to be living in conditions where you're dealing with severe poverty, severe hunger, desperation. You're not supposed to live like that. Practical examples emphasize stewardship. Be wise and faithful with the resources entrusted to you. Planning. Ensure your wealth is used purposefully for future generations. Trust. Appoint reliable people to manage responsibilities effectively. Setting up a real-life trust aligns with biblical principles of responsibility, foresight, and care for others. It reflects our role as stewards of God's blessings. So, I remember a long time ago when I started talking about this, like, the Bible is a protection. Just like I use the Bible because that's what I was raised on. I was raised as a Christian, right? So that's what I'm going to come from. But so is the other religious texts. They are there for the people who believe in that protection. And I'm sure in those, I'm 100% sure that you go to those texts, there's, just like I pulled out there's only a few examples of trust being set up. I mean, Abraham had a covenant with God, and all his people all his children, his seed would be his legacy. His children's children were going to receive God's blessing. Why? Because God had entrusted him. Because you remain faithful, this is what I'm going to do for you. So in this, when you really look at it, there is no such thing as us supposed to be in poverty. In none of this. Why are we? Because we bought into man's idea of what life is supposed to be about. Poverty is a dysfunctional form of existence. We are supposed to be in true wealth, prosperity, peace, and harmony. That's where we function at our highest. But because we live in a system that is opposite of that, we have to work our way to that mindset. Get the mindset, then the wealth, prosperity comes. You have to have it. You have to be peaceful in your mind. You have to be wealthy in your mind in order to have a physical manifestation of it. You see? All right, what's the chat talking about? Luke and Apple says, peace to the gods, much light to all. Indie Circle Ministry says, peace, my brother, peace back to you. Hindsight Radio, that's me. Peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. Dr. Teresa Apaya says, good evening. Good evening back to you. Yes, I am feeling better. Man, this time yesterday, I was no good to nobody. Like, really. So I got up. Dr. Teresa Apaya says it's absolutely true. Falcon L says, 555 says, hey, beloved Minister L in chat, peace to the peace. And Luke and Apple says, no teaching or preaching for me this weekend. I am taking some time to recharge and rest. Good health and safety. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Just recharge. Go within. Reflect. That's no better place to be is to just reflect within yourself. That's where you're going to find true peace. You're not going to find true peace with people and their conversations. You're not. You're going to get some idea of it, but true peace happens when you can just lay your head back and just say, I'm okay. Everything's going to be all right. I know that out there what's going on is a storm. It looks bad. But inner peace. It's gonna be all right. Everything's taken care of. This God has got me. The God within me has got me covered. You are covered. The reason why only reason where you come up from under the covering is to believe that you're not. That's how you get from under, because you believe you're not. And you're covered, taken care of. I don't know, man. I ain't got no money for that bill. I don't know where I'm gonna get the money from. The reason why you don't know where you're gonna get it from, because that's you uttering those words. Because when you understand the true source of all your prosperity comes from one place, all these things are man-made, you're gonna get it. Stop blocking yourself by believing you don't have it. All right? I know I make it sound simple. I know, because the storm is right there in front of you. You're like, oh, it's gonna get me. It's gonna sweep me up. It's not that bad. Indie Circus says, listen twice, speak once. Right. Absolutely. Active listening truly an acquired skill. Divine honors to the gods, goddesses, the universe, and all of our ancestors. Luke and Apple says that. And the everlasting good health be upon you, Brother Akeem. Thank you. Above and beyond with Karen. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Emperor Imperial Freight says peace to all. Indie Circle, Adam and Eve, Noah also were trustees of God's trust. Yes, yeah. Adam and Eve and them broke that trust. Peace to Akeem in the chat. The media pumps racism, but what's happening is classism. Absolutely. Generational wealth. Indie Circle. Don't squander your grandchildren's inheritance. Dr. Teresa Pius says that. I can have me a bank. I need to find out how to do that in Maryland. Peace, love, prosperity, and extreme wealth to everyone. DJ B Thunder. Bo Bowman says, Grand Rising. My brother, this is Elohim from the land 216. The bow in the clouds sounds like a craft. The word trust appears in the Bible 193 times. The word trust can be translated from at least 20 different words in the original language. That's good studying there. After Ezra, Indie Circle was telling me where to find a thing. Amen, Minister L. Good thought. Right. So go set those trusts up, or if you have trust, do something with them. Start putting property in it. Remember, I told you a trust is not a trust unless it owns something. It's called res, R-E-S, res. All right. Yeah. There's a webinar next Monday on how to put your house in a trust. I'm gonna have a new template. I know I got one in the membership already, but I'm gonna have a new one, a sample deed, and the recording is included with that, and the trust, actual trust. I'm putting the house in the trust, a sample trust. You'll get all of that. Private members $97, non-members $147. I think that's a very reasonable price to be able to get that, all of that, instructions on how to protect your property. And it's even if you have a mortgage, you can do this. They cannot accelerate the mortgage if you put your stuff in the trust. Now, the letters they send out is they want you to certain things. So I'm going to teach you how to do this properly. And be able to abide by what the letters say. All right. So I hope you join December the 2nd. Come on in and get it. One of the reasons why I'm harping on trust, because January is here. And we're going to be 1099s. Busy, busy, busy. You know, in January, I do a meeting every Monday instead of every other Monday because it's January, just to stay on top of things. It's that time of the year. All right. Grow your trust, protect your assets. 7:52. Sorry I didn't do a Q&A show yesterday. I will do one next week. Maybe I'll hop on tomorrow sometime. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. Like, I feel like totally different than I did yesterday. So, like, I can't even imagine how I felt yesterday. That's so bad. It was terrible. I had a really bad case of vertigo. It's the worst I've ever had. 24 hours. Just, I don't want to go into all the gory details. Oh, maybe I had to purge something. Maybe I had some bad spirits that I had to purge it out. And that's what I needed to go through. Because I feel alive today. I feel really alive. I feel, you ever come out of something, you feel like you're about no nonsense. No nonsense conversations, no trivial. You don't want to hear, you just want to talk about things that are pushing to a higher elevation. And any conversation that contradicts that, you don't judge it. You just move away from it. You ever feel like that? Anybody, y'all? Somebody said, can you address? I can address that. Can I address putting the house in the name of the church in the webinar? I've addressed that in the membership many times. But I'll talk about it briefly if you want me to. That's a good question. I could talk about it. Now, the benefits of putting the house in the church is that tax exemption. I've actually talked about that in my seminars. I did. Speaking of seminars, I know I was going to do something this year. I guess Spirit didn't push me hard enough to do it. I need to go hard next year then. You see? Luke and Apple says yes. You get to that no nonsense. Like, you hear certain things, you hear conversations, you just walk away. You know what? I'm out of here. I don't need all this. And you get to a point where you can really pick up. Because I was out of it, I hadn't eaten anything since Sunday afternoon around 4. And I ate something today. I had one sandwich today. That's all I had. And I'm full. I feel full. That's the great thing about it. It was very tough yesterday, but I really appreciate the fast that it put me on. So whenever you're feeling bad, fasting is the best thing you can do. Because it kind of resets your whole body. My body feels alive. Didn't like yesterday, compared to yesterday, it was, oh, goodness. But now, like, I'm hearing things. I can hear, I can see things. It's almost like you see people's spirits. I can see that. I can see that spirit. Like, yeah. So, especially conversation with a lot of word curses and oppressions, I avoid unnecessary warfare. Yeah. It just gets distracting, Yep, it does. Because when you are on a mission, anything that's not part of that mission, you just want to eliminate. You just don't want to take part of. It says, DJ said, the deeper you get in studying, the less you want to hear the nonsense. Absolutely. And you know what's hard is that when you start hearing that conversation and you it starts to show on your face that you really don't want to hear it, and the people pick up on that. I got to figure out a solution that I don't be offending people. I gotta figure out a solution. Yeah. Oh, what he said. So thanks, uploaded census brother. Yeah. All right, y'all. Oh, 7:57. I'm gonna let you guys go. And if I don't do anything between now and the holidays, hey, have a good holiday and remember what I said. Go enjoy your family. Be okay with the fact that they're not pursuing the same knowledge that you're pursuing. Be okay with the fact that they're okay with where they are. Be okay. And even the ones that say they want something different, they still okay with where they are. Because you know how many people say stuff, I want this, I want that. When you start presenting it to them, like, oh, that's a lie. I'll give you a small example. Somebody might be dealing with some pain, arthritis pain. Y'all know what's good for arthritis pain? It's a couple of things. Take a little dab of turpentine and put it on that little arthritis thing and then watch that pain go away. And there's other things too that you can use. I think there's some leaves you can use. But as soon as you tell them, you know, be careful, just use a little bit, don't go overboard, blah, blah. Oh, what? They don't do it. They rather go get that medication from the doctor. So now, you tell me, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. How are you healing yourself? Oh, the doctor gave me, okay, great. Because you know, when you have knowledge of certain things, you know how some of these pharmaceuticals they have side effects. And then you know alternative that don't have a side effect, and you offer that. You're just trying to be helpful, but really, your helpfulness is really interpreted as meddling to the other person. So I'm learning how not to meddle with people's healthcare choices. I'm learning how not to meddle with people's just simple, what they believe in. Unless they invite me in. And even then they get a warning. Are you sure we can have this because I have a certain way of believing, and sometimes people don't like my point of view. Are you okay with having a point of view that's different from yours and you not getting upset about it? Because all I'm going to do is speak my truth. And I'm going to allow you to speak yours. And we probably won't agree. And it's okay if we don't agree. But just don't be upset with me because you don't like it. Isn't that what happened with this last election? So many people upset because Kamala Harris did not win. Okay. People win, people lose. Why are you upset with everyone else? Because your candidate didn't win. What's the matter? First of all, how's that going to move the needle in their finances? See, that's a perfect example of people not accepting things as they come. And furthermore, that should be the furthest thing around who's winning an election. When you're in your house dealing with personal financial issues, personal relationship issues, there's nothing in that government that's going to come into your house and fix any of that. You're the only one that can do that. So why am I putting these things in my mind? That I know I have no control over. I only have control over me and what's happening in my circle. And even then, it's limited if I have other people in the circle that I'm dealing with. You see? Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving back to you, Dr. Teresa Pike. What? Only thing I need to be concerned with is what Akeem is doing. That's it. That's all I can. That's all on my plate. Shoot. That's all I got. Like, this is this bout of vertigo has been coming off and on for the last couple of weeks. I hadn't had them like long time. And I'm like, why are so many back to back to back like this? What is it? And I really think it's more of a spiritual thing, like a cleansing, because I've been doing a lot of different things, you know, waking up, making sure I pray in the morning. And when I pray for deliberate things to happen throughout the day. Then at night, I lay down and I say a little prayer. I don't do long, drawn-out prayers. I've been in this habit of doing all these things, so I feel like this is something just purging more of things that I need to get out. Because, man, oh man. And now where I feel now, I'm like, wow, I feel woke. I feel awake. I feel like my senses are sharp. I can see. I can hear. I don't feel dull. And sometimes we have to go through those things. When we're asking for a physical reaction happens. When we ask for a cleansing, a physical system to get higher in our spiritual nature, sometimes we got stuff in us that come out, some toxins, whatever. And you become hypersensitive. I know I'm a little hypersensitive today. I know it. Because I'm just raw nerves right now. No food, no real food. So the body is like, that's what fasting is a great thing. If you have not fasted, you need to. Trust me. Even if it could be just a fruit fast or something like that. You know, maybe that should be the goal. Leading up to the ritual, I got the schedule set up. I just got to send out the email for the ritual. Leading up to the ritual, maybe you should think about fasting as much as you can. Whether it be on a fruit, water, or maybe you just want to fast from watching TV. Maybe you want to fast from overspending. Maybe you want to fast from conflict, arguments. But just do something. Just try something to eliminate that you know that you need to eliminate. One thing, and just do it. Try to do it as long as you can. But like I said, take small baby steps. If you do it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, you did it. And just watch how you feel. And ultimately, the big thing is fast from food. Do a cleanse. I take this thing called Supreme Cleanse. All I take a little swig of that, man. That thing will clean me out for the rest of the day. I take it at night and then next to everything. So, ginger for vertigo. Take ginger for vertigo. Good deal. Thank you. Turmeric. And I have all of those things. All right, everybody. I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. Safe travels. Watch out the popo out there trying to give out tickets. And that being said, peace, prosperity, and extreme wealth to all. You came into this world as a winner. So why are you losing now? Because you forgot. You forgot who you are. You forgot your true divinity. You forgot where your true power lies. You place power in people's idea of you and not the power in your truthful idea of yourself. So change the idea of who you are. Change your life. Change how you see yourself. Change the idea that you allow external things control what's inside of you. Change the idea that you need people to validate you in order to feel like you're something.